Welcome to Prime Edition. I am Cynthia Nyamai. Now, President Ruto had his cabinet meeting. We do have those details for you. And Young and Industrious is back. It is one of your favorites on Thursday. And you have been asking for another session of Young and Industrious. Munga has those details for you. And in sports, it's just 10 days to the World Cup. So Karen will be taking up a good chunk of this bulletin. This and more coming up shortly, but first, let's have the highlights. Moving to tame the high cost of living, Cabinet approves the establishment of Kenya National Trading Corporation as a vehicle to stabilize prices of essential items.
There being no objection to the substantive application by the prosecution to have the matter withdrawn under Section 87A of the Criminal Procedure Code, the application is hereby granted.
A big win for Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua as DPP drops his 7 billion shillings corruption case. And widening technology, government promises cheaper smartphones made in Kenya in the next 12 months. Well, our sign language interpreter is Lucy Mwaura. And remember, we would like to hear from you, just as we listened to you when you talked about Young and Industrious. And it is actually Anne Wangeshi. I couldn't see it from the screen, but our sign interpreter is Anne Wangeshi. Sorry for that. And remember, we would like to hear from you. Do send us your messages and also some of the ideas that you have for us, what you would like to watch. And we will definitely be reading some of your comments at the end of this bulletin and take action from the feedback that you give us. Now, the Cabinet has approved a framework to position the Kenya National Trading Corporation, KNTC, as the anchor of state initiatives to create a price stabilizer for essential household food items. During a Cabinet meeting chaired by President William Ruto in State House, Nairobi, the Cabinet noted that Kenya National Trading Corporation will supplement other state initiatives by creating strategic reserves for staple and essential food items, vital farming inputs including fertilizer and any other goods necessary for ensuring stability in the prices of core goods consumed by Kenyans.
President William Ruto on Thursday chaired the first meeting of his newly appointed cabinet meeting at State House, Nairobi. The meeting, attended by the Prime Cabinet Secretary and all the Cabinet Secretaries, made deliberations on how to address the rise in the cost of living. Effectively, the Cabinet agreed on a framework to position the Kenya National Trading Corporation to create a price stabilizer for essential household food items. According to the Cabinet, KNTC as a trading company will supplement other state initiatives by creating strategic reserves for staple and essential food items, vital farm inputs, including fertilizer and any other goods necessary for ensuring stability in the prices of core goods consumed by Kenyans. During the meeting, members of the Cabinet said KNTC will leverage on its infrastructure and capacity to help stabilize prices of all essential items in instances where price swings of essential items are abnormal and against the public interest. In order to realize this, KNTC will continue to partner with the National Cereals and Produce Board and local and regional financial intermediaries specializing in trade and commodity financing.
The application by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution to drop graft charges against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and 9 others has been granted. The court ruled that there was no full disclosure of evidence and documentation to sustain trial in the 7.3 billion shillings corruption case. Senior Principal Victor Nakumile says the DPP should have exercised due diligence to prevent abuse of the legal process before the accused could take plea.
Anti-Corruption Court Magistrate Victor Wakumile, while dropping the graft charges against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and 9 others, accused the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions of preferring corruption charges without tangible and adequate evidence.
First accused is Honorable Nderitu Gachagua. We know him as, is it Rigiji? The application is hereby granted. Now, the accused persons are hereby warned and informed that they may be rearrested in future and on the same or similar charges. However, in my view, should the judicial system be used as a stopgap measure or even a doormat, there is need to respect institutions. Recommendations are necessary at whatever level. Also, when a criminal process seems to overtly offend Article 52 of the Constitution of Kenya, which provides that every accused person has a right to a fair trial.
He held that one cannot prefer charges on the anticipation of getting sufficient facts regarding a case. However, Wakumile said the court would summon them in case fresh evidence regarding the matter was unearthed.
However, as suggested by counsel for accused number 3, I believe it is important for courts of law to make recommendations which might improve the criminal justice system based on real-time observations.
He urged Parliament to enact a law that will give an independent agency powers to scrutinize evidence before trial.
Now, we have parliamentarians here. I think number 1 and 2. It's Wahome. You are here. Yeah, you should take up the initiative. Don't go there and bang your, how they clap. Come up with this legislation. Let us have this office to be sieving what the other 2 officers are doing. 3 are better than 2.
Nyeri Senator William Mwangi, who was among those accused, expressed joy at the verdict.
Yes, I think the first thing that I'll do actually as soon as we have a sitting is to put a statement to the department, to the committee that is in charge of the peace and cohesion and the justice affairs, to put a statement requesting them to come up with legislative structures that will safeguard Kenyans against going what we have gone through. It can happen again.
In the case, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, Nyeri Senator William Mwangi and 8 others faced 6 counts of economic crimes where they were jointly accused of fraudulently receiving billions of shillings knowing they were proceeds of crime between the year 2013 and 2020. The court also ordered the bail posted by the accused be refunded. The case against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and 9 others has officially been dropped under Section 87, subsection A of the CPC, that is the Criminal Procedure Code. But pertinent questions have emerged. 1, why did the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution proceed to charge the 9 without sufficient documentation and evidence? Why did the Director of Criminal Investigation bring a matter to court that had half-baked truths? The court has also cautioned the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution against abuse of the court process. Reporting for the Prime Edition from the Milimani Law Courts, I'm Ben Troinjue.
Now let's go to Parliament, where the National Assembly has approved new members of the Parliamentary Service Commission amid disgruntlement by the Jubilee Party that was arm-twisted. The National Assembly endorsed the replacement of Jubilee Senator Fatuma Dolo with her ODM counterpart, Okongo Omogeni, a move the Jubilee Party termed unfair.
A political divorce is looming in Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party after Jubilee Party missed out on the 3 positions reserved for the minority party in the Parliamentary Service Commission.
Na Mheshimiwa Spika, ndugu zetu kutoka ODM nataka kuwapasha kwamba hao ni wanafiki wabaya sana. Tulipojiunga nao hatukushurutishwa, hatukulazimishwa, na tutakapotalaka hatutashurutishwa, tutawatalaka jinsi tunataka. Mheshimiwa Spika,
what has ODM not done? ODM allowed the member from Jubilee to be processed in this house. We were here, and we consented, and we voted, and we had allowed Jubilee to have a member which was taken to Senate. What could we do? Did we have to go to Senate and become members there to be able to vote for the Jubilee Party?
The National Assembly approved the new members of the commission tasked with management of affairs of Parliament as amended in the Senate, thereby giving ODM 2 positions, Wiper Party 1, while Jubilee missed out. The Senate had on Wednesday struck out Jubilee Senator Fatuma Dulo from the list and replaced her with ODM Senator Okongo Mogeni.
We are in a coalition called Azimio, which all of us actually purposely committed to be part of, and there's rules of engagement. At this early stage, we are seeing a complete disregard of the rules of engagement.
But as Jubilee MPs accuse ODM of blackmail, a section blamed the party's leadership of creating confusion.
I want to address my party and say, put your act together. Even on the issue, Mr. Speaker, of Yala, we had 3 letters coming from the same party and giving different names. This is really not... Jubilee Party cannot be sending 2 or 3 letters on one issue giving different instructions, Mr. Speaker.
The agitated lawmakers now want Azimio la Umoja leadership to convene a parliamentary group meeting to iron out the complaints before they degenerate to a divorce.
Look at even the numbers numerically. After ODM, Jubilee is the second largest party. So it's not something that we are begging, it's our right. So we are asking the Azimio leadership to fast track this, call for a meeting, and allow Jubilee to nominate a candidate with choice to the Parliamentary Service Commission.
The list of commissioners approved include Senators Joyce Correll and John Kenywa of UDA, Senator Okongo Mogeni of ODM, members of National Assembly Faith Getao and Mohammed Ali of UDA, as well as Mishi Mboko and Patrick Makau of ODM and Wiper parties respectively. Rishuk Washira, Prime Edition.
Now, the National Assembly has directed the leader of Majority Party Kimani Ichung'wah to engage Treasury Cabinet Secretary to ensure the constituency development fund is disbursed before the House proceeds for the long recess. Minority Party leader Opiyo Wandayi says the House runs a risk of missing the monies to disburse to needy students when schools open in January. The House is set to proceed on a long recess from 2nd December 2022 and resume regular sittings on 13th February 2023.
With less than a month before the House adjourns for a long recess, National Treasury may find itself on a tight spot as legislators plan to push for the disbursement of delayed NGCDF funds before the long break.
Going by past precedents, if this House adjourns for recess without a clear indication as to when disbursements of NGCDF will be made, we stand the risk of staying all the way up to the last quarter of this financial year without any single amount of money being disbursed.
While warning that the delay may affect Kenyans who depend on the fund, Ugunja MP, who is also the Minority Party leader Opiyo Wandayi, sought to have the new Cabinet Secretary for Treasury Njuguna Ndungu reveal when the funds will hit the bank accounts of constituencies.
And may I also dare say, Mr. Speaker, and this is no empty threat, that failure to do that, I will be moving members of the House to refrain from any talk of recess, firstly, and secondly, to refrain from any engagement on any business.
Our people are waiting for us not to go on recess. They are waiting for us to go home to process their bursaries for term 1 school fees in January.
Majority Leader, I will give you an opportunity perhaps together with the Chair of Budget and Finance, to engage the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, and I'll give you an opportunity on Tuesday afternoon to make a formal statement out of that engagement.
The Constituency Development Fund has been embroiled in endless debates following a court ruling over its constitutionality, defending the fund as having a great impact at the grassroots level. Legislators are currently working on introducing a bill to entrench the NGCDF, among other proposed funds, into the Constitution. Meanwhile, National Assembly has approved the appointment of Police Inspector General nominee Engineer Japhet Koome, saying he has vast experience to steer the country's security.
This particular nominee has shown us that he is up to the task because he ably answered all the questions that were raised by this honorable committee.
Koome will be taking over from Nur Gabo, who currently holds the position in an acting capacity. Kamche Menza for Prime Edition.
Well, it's time for a short break, but when we come back, I will be telling you how the government plans to increase the internet network in this country. Don't go away.
Kupata rudisha pesa za Masai kama sikiza tune yako, bonyeza *811 *962 hash.
Iko mtu nasirisha mimi sana. Nasikia? Sema okay? Kama semi achukui, mimi napeleka pesa benki. Nafika benki, napatia pesa, alafu mtu mwingine nakuja na asema nataka loan, napatiwa ile pesa. Sasa mimi nashinda. Kwani mimi naleta pesa yangu wewe napatia mtu mwingine?
Kupata rudisha pesa za Masai, bonyeza *811 *962 hash. *811 *962 hash.
There are days when you think, oh, leo na deserve, so order a Glovo. Days when plans inachelewa. What if you order a Glovo? Or days when you can't control everything. Or yes, because on Glovo you can order anything you want. Glovo, you order, we get it.
Welcome back. Family, friends and relatives of the late Josephine Adair Thursday congregated at the Holy Family Basilica for her Requiem Mass. Adair served as a studio technical operator at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. She died on Wednesday last week after battling cancer. In a speech read on his behalf, the corporation's acting managing director eulogized the late Adair as a resourceful and diligent employee.
A somber mood filled the air at the Holy Family Basilica Church in Nairobi. Family, friends and colleagues of the late Josephine Adair gathered here to pay their respects not to just a colleague but a friend. Adair lost the battle to cancer on Wednesday, 2nd November 2022. Her husband Martin Odino gave details of her brave battle with the disease, which she was first diagnosed on February last year. 39-year-old Adair received treatment at the Aga Khan Hospital, but would later be referred to Kenyatta University Teaching, Research and Referral Hospital. Her family described her as a loving mother, a go-getter who worked hard to provide for her children.
Up to last week, Wednesday, when finally Josephine Adair passed on, it was really, really difficult. Josephine Adair is named after our grandmother, great-grandmother, meaning that she has a very special place within our family because we regard her as our great-grandmother.
Colleagues described her as a team player who was held in high regard by her peers.
Her skills and zeal for work made her quite resourceful and a dependable employee. Her humility enabled her to work well with her colleagues who held her in high esteem. Adair would always have a smile for all, and she was a team player.
Adair, who worked as a studio technical operator, joined KBC as an intern in the year 2005, was employed in 2008, and later rose within the ranks. She has left behind a widower, Martin Odino, and 5 children. She will be laid to rest this Saturday at her matrimonial home in Bumala, Busia County. For Prime Edition, I'm Alvin Kaunda.
Our condolences to Adair's family now. It's time for business, where the government plans to step up digitization of its processes to enhance service delivery and save business time and costs. President William Ruto says small businesses have the capacity to move the economy forward, hence the need to create an environment for them to thrive.
The Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis report on characteristics of MSMEs in Kenya indicates that MSMEs contribute to over 90% of total labor force and play a key role in poverty reduction and economic development.
We have a youthful population with high expectations of the current and future leadership, looking to their leaders to spearhead them to opportunities where they can earn a decent wage and enjoy a decent living.
But entrepreneurs say they continue to languish in a myriad of financial, legislative and creative barriers.
We believe as exporters we are supposed to be supported by the government, whereby if we can have a system whereby we can get refunded our VAT faster or even immediately as other countries do it.
A grace period to be able to get on our feet so that we can be able to pay taxes without default.
The lack of political goodwill, because it's a country that we have come up with a benchmark of finish politics, start politics immediately. But development delays.
To address this, the government will digitize its processes to enhance service delivery and save businesses time and costs.
It is important that we empower small businesses to thrive in the online marketplace. Our first order of business is to develop a policy framework to protect and support youth in their creative economy. This entails facilitation and capacity building of mainly youth-owned MSMEs.
Speaking in Nairobi during the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Roundtable, President Ruto said the government was formulating a policy framework for the creative economy to protect young people and build the capacity to earn livelihoods from their talents.
We can modernize facilities which have been neglected or degraded into modern recreational centers, and where youth can train, can learn, practice and generate incomes from showcasing their talent.
We are now running up to 50 to 100 clients, SME clients whom we are incubating there. From our Kenya Industrial Estate, we have another 50. We are now going to roll out these incubations to every county. And that is the basis That is the basis of our common user facilities.
He announced plans to have competitively priced made-in-Kenya smartphones within 12 months.
Already we are working with our telcos, our telecommunication sector, so that we can have a smartphone that is going to be less than 5,000 shillings.
President Ruto said export documents and business information will also be digitized and consolidated in an integrated portal for easier access by small businesses. Alan Auko, Prime Edition.
Thank you, Alan, for that report. Agriculture, micro, small and medium enterprises, housing and settlement, healthcare, digital superhighway and the creative economy will be prioritized for budgetary allocation in the next financial year. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Juguna Ndungu says the government is keen on sustained rationalization of non-priority recurrent expenditures and redirecting resources to finance priority growth supporting capital projects with high return on investment.
The government is in the process of revising the medium-term 4 draft document to integrate the priority areas outlined in the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. At the start of the 2023-2024 budget-making process, National Treasury officials said the focus would be on agriculture, micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, housing and settlement, healthcare, digital superhighway and the creative economy.
We shall focus on manufacturing, investment, promotion in attracting both foreign and domestic investment in the manufacturing, development of special economic zone and industrial park, and promotion of the cottage industries. We have to be innovative in terms of what we want to support. We have to be innovative in terms of what we want to plan for. And that innovation is going to have the underlying budgetary constraints so that we have an objective function.
Professor Ndungu says that effective public spending will be strictly enforced to ensure low priority expenditure give way to higher priority service delivery programs and those with high return on investment.
Government is committed to ensuring that there is value for money in public spending. We are on a fiscal consolidation path. We are aware of issues of public debt, and in order to align ourselves to ensure that we preserve our debt sustainability, we are enhancing revenue correction over the medium term. And this is already informed by also looking at also our expenditures, and I think
the government will also embark on aggressive revenue mobilization so as to reduce the fiscal deficit to 4.3%.
We want to move gradually to improvement in revenue correction to over 18% of the GDP over the medium term.
Spending by ministries, departments and agencies will also be scrutinized to ensure that they are not only directed towards improving productivity but are aligned to the government's objectives.
We want to move towards a gradual reduction in expenditure to about 22.7% of GDP over the medium term, in line with the fiscal consolidation policy.
The government further plans to strengthen institutions involved in the fight against corruption to eliminate pilferage of public resources. Wairi Mujenga for Prime Edition.
The Ministry of Labour is constituting a multi-sectoral committee to deal with the grievances raised by Kenya Airways pilots during their recent strike. Labour Principal Secretary Peter Toom told the National Assembly's Departmental Committee on Labour that most of the pilots' grievances are shared concerns among Kenya Airways employees, hence the need to come up with a lasting solution.
Airways projects to clear the backlog caused by the 4-day pilot strike in 2 days. Despite the airline and the pilots striking a return-to-work formula, the government plans to set up a multi-agency task force to look into the pilots' grievances that includes the welfare of all Kenya Airways workers.
Will be representatives from the Ministry of Transport. We'll have representatives from the National Treasury. We'll have representatives also from the pilots themselves, the management of Kenya Airways, and any other party that we will think is very necessary to join us in that conciliatory process.
Among the grievances raised by the pilots were concerns that Kenya Airways froze payment of the monthly pension contribution.
Issues are basically on the welfare of the pilots. Number one is on payment of their statutory deductions. Two is that the way their relationships are between management and themselves, the way management is handling their flight duties and all that.
The government acknowledges that the pilots' concerns are legitimate and mediation to try to solve them in the past have hit a snag. Therefore, a need for a multi-sectoral approach to address the grievances.
Airways is an entity that is receiving a lot of money from government, and it is in the interest of the Kenyan people to have things move smoothly so that we can avoid the losses, the huge losses that our country is experiencing at Kenya Airways.
The National Assembly's Departmental Committee on Labour plans to grill the KQ management and the Kenya Airline Pilots Association officials on the issues. Benson Ruba reporting for Prime Edition.
November like never before. Mouth-watering programs. Maza takes a break and in comes football extravaganza. And a bouquet of the best of movies from the Orient lined up for you. Oh yes, November 2022 is like never before. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Don't do anything stupid.
You are under arrest for drug trafficking.
Run him in acid. Yes, sir.
Welcome back. Africa requires 100 trillion shillings every year to invest in climate actions. A report on climate action financing released during the ongoing COP27 meeting in Egypt is urging multicultural lenders to double their funding to help developing countries deal with the climate change.
The issues of climate financing took center stage for the second day today at the ongoing COP27 meeting in Egypt, with Africa and other developing economies calling for increased lending from external financiers and multilateral lenders.
Intervention that we need, especially for developing countries and especially in Africa, is financing. Financing is the one thing that can make the difference. And every time we've been asked here as African leaders, we've talked about financing as the single biggest one. And we know that although Africa only contributes slightly less than 4% of emissions, they actually bear the brunt of the climatic issues, in particular floods and drought and food shortages that we are seeing in Africa.
Experts say that global leading development banks extended a total of $51 billion in funding to poorer countries last year, while private investors offered a total of $13 billion in the same period. Experts attending the climate change talks in Egypt says there is a need for rich countries to double their funding to developing countries to help them deal with climate change.
Without financing, we can't go forward. We know that there is commitment that was made about $100 billion. It hasn't been released. We know that only about 30 billion has been released so far, and that's only about 10% of what we need per year. So clearly, financing needs to continue to be on the table, and discussions need to continue to be had. But financing also needs to be homegrown in the context of us coming up with solutions that are bankable, that where we can attract investment.
There is need to review the Act of Parliament and to make sure we realign it to the policy. We realign it also to the various rounds of negotiations that Kenya has been engaged in over the years. So that's a commitment that we as members of Parliament we are making, that we want to go back and ensure that the laws around climate change are fit for purpose.
Speakers at the COP27 meeting have also called for a doubling of grants and low-interest loans to developing countries in 3 years to $60 billion. O'Brien Kiman for Prime Edition.
Incubation hubs are growing popular among small-scale manufacturers who are in need of facilitation to bring their ideas to life. Daniel Mudhaka, the founder of Oils and Refinery, says the high rate of premature MSME death stems from the high cost of machines and premises. Our reporter Hibak Said was at the shared hub where MSMEs are supported during their first year and brings you the following report.
The whir of machinery, giving life to products that would soon grace your shelves. Here in Kariobangi is the Micro and Small Enterprise Authority's largest incubation center. Nestled in the busier sides of Nairobi city, ready to host another new idea that would inevitably boost the local manufacturing sector.
We do a lot of market linkage, trainings, and now the incubation process. We incubate them so that they grow from startup to mature businesses, and then we let them to fly out to go to the outside market.
We got our training from Kildi, we did our research, then we were referred here by a friend of ours. From there, we came here.
One such business is CM Oils and Refinery, a small business that set roots at the hub and has grown to produce at least 300 liters of sunflower oil in a day.
We started by buying this machine, oil press machine. From oil press machine, then we bought the filter, from filter, then the shaker, and from there we started our company.
Mudhaka says, contrary to large refiners, the business uses 3 machines for shaking, grinding and sieving before the oil is left to settle and is finally packaged and sold.
And we can sell at least 200 liters per day on a given day.
Typically, rent and electricity cost to run these operations is high. However, the incubation center not only provides training, but also a one-stop shop where registration of the business is done with ease.
We give subsidized rent depending on what business that you're taking. It depends on the size of the room also, because as a startup, we don't expect you to take a big room. So we have slotted them into very tiny, not tiny really, but manageable small rooms for small businesses.
This center can host up to 21 businesses at a time. And just like CM Oils, they are granted a grace period of at least 1 year where machines, power and premises are availed at a subsidized rate. The center's manager says the hub has 400 affiliate constituency centers where small businesses pitch their ideas. She says for a business to be considered, the entrepreneur must have a valid business plan and a sample of the product they intend to make.
Through that form, we will be able to qualify you depending on what us as Musea we are looking for and what you as a person you are looking for in the business.
She says as time progresses, this center would be upgraded to fit more businesses due to the increased demand by startups.
The little that we have, we can be able to sustain them for now, but for more, we need to go up.
The full process. It's in incubators like this that small entrepreneurs are able to process, package and sell their products not only to the local markets but even the international markets. Hibak Said for KBC Channel 1.
Now to a story that I had highlighted earlier, where the government plans to increase internet access, especially in remote areas, to accelerate digital transformation. Director of ICT Hesbon Malaya says growth of digital connectivity will spark innovations which will make Kenya a technology hub.
Latest data from the Communications Authority of Kenya indicates that there are 47.6 million internet subscriptions in Kenya, most of which are on mobile devices. To support internet availability across the country, the government rolled out the National Optic Fiber Network Backhaul initiative, targeting to lay high-speed broadband fiber across the country. This is expected to help create online jobs, especially for Kenyans.
What we are doing per se is we've rolled out fiber to it's 9,000 kilometers now, and we are looking forward to increasing this capacity in the next 5 years. Our aim is to do that with about 100,000 kilometers. So we are looking to do this with our partners as well, so that we can go even to the far-flanked areas to be able to achieve this.
The ICT and Digital Economy Ministry has unveiled a plan to grow digital talent and skills to deliver transformation at the grassroots levels.
To move away from just being importers of technology to also being exporters of technology, and if the government can champion that, that can be really good. Companies like us, we are also trying to do our bit in actually digitizing or bringing economic empowerment to the country and to the continent.
Plans are underway to increase internet access in remote areas, even as various stakeholders pledge to build 1,000 digital talent for the industry.
We have got to do a better story, I think, to American tech companies that I think can be quite helpful here, of telling the story of Africa and telling the story of Kenya. Because I'll tell you, when I was the CEO of 2 Fortune 10 companies, and Africa's not at the top of your list when you're sitting in America. You're worried about America, you're worried about Europe, you're worried about Asia, you're worried about Latin America. And I think we need to collectively do a better job at the narrative of why Africa and why Kenya.
Frederick Muki for Prime Edition.
Well, Eugenia Gardens in Kiambu County offers a platform for recreation, networking, creativity, and green space for research and work. Tonight on Magical Scenes, we highlight attractions along Kenyatta Gatundu Road.
Can wait. This is paradise, just being here with you and breathing the air.
Welcome to Eugenia Gardens in Kiambu County. This is an arts and recreational center. They say such an environment improves people's well-being besides improving mental health. Some of the would-be visitors to Eugenia are said to be less depressed owing to the green spaces in the area. Many would say putting up a beautiful garden is hard work. Yes, I agree to this. This is Eugenia in the county of Kiambu. You would not only want to spend your weekend here, but any other day of the week. Why? This is because the destination's greenery is well calculated, and the breeze that comes in this place is one that will make you feel more relaxed, whether you are on holiday or for business meeting. This is a place you would work from, have a family or a group gathering or a wedding.
It's inspired by greenery in Africa. Look at the blue cypress. It all grows here. The snow mountains, they all grow here. Very cheap, affordable, but well done. We've got our grass. It's actually green all year round. A lot of gardens are saying that their grass is all brown, especially now with the drought season. But the reason we're green is because, one, our grass is natural, and we got it from the highlands of Muranga.
The destination is dotted with Agikuyu-themed traditional huts, which is also helpful for those keen on getting a know-how of the Agikuyu culture. The gardens are ideal for picnicking safaris. Unique artificial metal animal sculptures dot the grounds, creating a spectacle to behold. The gardens are additionally renowned for their rose collection, ideal for students of botany. Irene Mchuma Odim, Magical Sense in the county of Kiambu.
Let's now delve into matter sports, particularly the 2022 Qatar FIFA World Cup, where I will be taking you through three countries that have made three notable, that are very notable, which is Brazil, which is the first. Brazil is the only team to have appeared in all 21 tournaments of the FIFA World Cup since its inception. And what else about Brazil? Brazil is the most successful nation in FIFA World Cup history with 5 titles. The South Americans are the only team to have featured in every edition of the FIFA World Cup. Which other country has made a notable? France. France, the reigning FIFA World Cup champions, have participating in their 16th FIFA World Cup. France famously won the World Cup for the first time in 1998 on home soil with a 3-0 victory against Brazil in their final. This is the last time a host nation claimed the title. That's what makes France in the history of World Cup. Let's take a look at one African country which has made history. Cameroon have made more appearances at the FIFA World Cup than any other African nation. Cameroon's biggest World Cup achievement is unquestionably their run to the quarterfinals in 1990, where they defeated defending champions Argentina 1-0. Up to date, none has ever bettered that performance that they registered in 1990. Will we see a better performance in 2022? We have 5 African nations that will be taking part. So we will see if they will manage to go past the quarterfinals in the 2022 FIFA Qatar. So as you can see, France have won 2 World Cup titles. Brazil have won 5, and no African country yet has won that particular title. Will we see any African country this year making any major milestone in this FIFA Qatar? We are yet to see, because the tournament just starts in 10 days. 10 days sounds so far, but it's just next weekend. So let's just say next weekend. We will see when everything and all systems go for the 2022 FIFA Qatar next weekend. Cynthia?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Karen. Now, she will be coming back with more stories for you in the sports world and also the World Cup shortly. Now, to the young and industrious. With the advent of COVID-19 pandemic in early 2020, a lot of people realized the need to boost immunity through healthy eating. From taking concoctions of boiled water with ginger and garlic to having an affinity for beverages made of lemon and lime. On tonight's edition of Young and Industrious, we feature a business venture that was formed from lessons learned during the Corona days and has made a name for itself in the organic food sector.
Green Organics, an acronym for Growing with Nature, came about as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, which prompted most people around the world to emphasize more on natural foods in their diets.
This came about at the wake of COVID, when COVID just happened, and everyone was curious about what foods can we eat to boost our immunity and stay clear of the virus. So it came to me as an opportunity, as a business opportunity, because my friends kept asking me, what products are you using? Because my skin has started looking very nice and flawless. My body had changed when I started using baobab and moringa, and it quickly transitioned into a business opportunity, and that's how the business started. It has like 6 superfoods, including baobab and moringa, maca powder, spiru.
Director and co-founder Nduta Waithima, who has a background in social impact and community development, was on a health and wellness journey in 2020 when she crossed paths with her partner Victor Kamau, who had started developing organic foods combinations to help his brother heal following a cardiac arrest.
We generally customize meal packages and superfood formulations to reduce the inflammation. That means we consult a lot with nutritionists or food scientists on how to do the formulations for someone with an underlying condition, say hypertension or diabetes, so that we improve their condition and not make it worse. Traditional foods over time have also been recorded to have negative impacts to our bodies. So we really specialize on the quantities that are fit for human consumption per day. You can use this powder mix twice a day, once a day, depending on your desire for.
Working alongside a certified nutritionist, Nduta says despite the high competition in the increasingly popular sector, the company has managed to stay stable thanks to repeat clients who have over the years made referrals to others, hence keeping the company profitable.
In Green Organics, we deal with the doctor's prescription. If it is diabetes, we have to have the tests done, and drugs is prescribed by the doctor. So we always advise our clients to always take the drugs together with the powder mixes or the juice itself.
We noticed when we started the business, our first 10 business, we were purely online and we were just selling the powders. We noticed that the intake for the powders reduced. So we wanted to, allow our customers to enjoy the product. So we introduced juices. So we can make a juice, say for example, a hangover buster, a screwdriver tonic, a detox juice. So we curated juices to allow our customers to enjoy the products. Then, cheers.
Green Organics currently operates a juice bar at Four Ways Village off Kiambu Road, with the founders hopeful of remaining a household name as more people are turning back to natural remedies to treat illnesses as well as underlying conditions.
One of the beautiful things that we are looking into is called product tracing. We want to start working with farmers directly to be able to know and product trace and say, this is how the product has been planted, and this is how we are advising farmers on the use of manure in place of pesticides. So the direction for our business is to scale enough to be able to influence farmers to produce the superfoods that we use.
For young and industrious, I'm Monga Minor.
Nasikia Joy liko in town. I think you should ask Mama Paul ama hata Tiffany.
Ask Tiffany what?
Maliza yote. Alafu kwani ulikata maji gani?
Vodka, whisky, yote nikachanganyishwa hapo.
Tiffany, huyo hata haisaidika.
Come on, I don't believe that.
Watu wao hata alimkataga. Ne Mungu yani ukanitadika na wayuni.
Okay, boss.
Okay for lunch or
I'll do it.
Good.
How do you find my cousin George?
I hope my cousin is not harassing you.
Anafaa ukujaga huku. Sijui ndio kwa sababu nakuuliza. Hata mimi sijui, naona niambia. Sasa una whisper kwa nini?
Yote una whisper.
You're very hilarious.
Mimi kuwa kunywa si tafadhali. Mimi kuwa kunywa kabisa. Ni dakika yote kazi ipatikane.
Research from Statista says only 3% of the population have health insurance in Nigeria. Most are government workers covered.
Welcome back. Let's proceed with the sports stories making headlines tonight. And Leicester midfielder James Maddison has been included in Gareth Southgate's 26-man England squad for the 2022 World Cup along with Newcastle striker Callum Wilson. Maddison last played for England in November 2019, while Wilson's last international cap came a month before in October 2019. Meanwhile, Germany has handed a surprise call-up to Borussia Dortmund's 17-year-old forward Youssoufa Moukoko for the 26-man World Cup squad.
To add up their tally as supporters at the National Stadium provided a carnival atmosphere ahead of the team's departure for the World Cup in Qatar. Costa Rica are grouped alongside Germany, Japan and Spain in Group E at the World Cup finals. Meanwhile, despite being sidelined with an injury, Reece James has been working hard to ensure that he regains full fitness in the time for the World Cup this month.
James and poked home by Zuma. There's no catching.
Gareth Southgate confirmed that Chelsea's fullback has not recovered sufficiently from the knee injury he picked against AC Milan on October 11th and will not be risked at the World Cup. Meanwhile,
Thank you, Kingori. Still in Matters World Cup, the indomitable Lions of Cameroon left out long-serving centre-back Michael from their squad in a shock omission as tactician Rigobert Song named his 26-man selection for Qatar World Cup. The team will be captained by Vincent Abubakar, who competed as a teenager at the 2010 World Cup finals and again in Brazil in 2014 when the indomitable Lions last appeared at the finals. This year's FIFA World Cup matches will be live on KBC Channel 1. Now, residents of Mombasa have lauded the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation for acquiring exclusive free-to-air rights to broadcast the FIFA 2022 World Cup matches slated to kick off on November 20th to the 18th of December in Qatar. The corporation's caravan snaked its way across the coastal town where local presenters treated the locals to goodies, games and dances ahead of the global showpiece. The finals will be broadcasted live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 television and all KBC's radio stations beginning on the 20th of this month. World Cup Eco KBC. Now our reporter June Carissa unfolds the lively scenes from the roadshow. Take a look.
Jomvu, Mvita, Nyali and Kisauni constituencies were treated to goodies, games, songs and dances as the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation affirmed its readiness to exclusively air 28 of the 64 FIFA World Cup matches beginning the 20th of November.
Tumejiandaa vilivyo, mechi zote 64 ikiwa ni saa 7, saa 10, saa 1, saa 4. Tuko chonjo kabisa.
Hizo vile ambavyo utakuwa unaonyesha ule utamu wa mchezo wa kandanda kwa mara ya kwanza ambao utakuwa unachezwa ndani ya ardhi ya Jangwani.
Sasa hivi timu yangu ikianguka
Nataka kuanzisha kampeni ya kutembea kutoka Mombasa mpaka Nairobi.
The National Broadcasters affiliate radio stations will air all the 64 matches, news that was received with elation from the residents.
Nasikia raha kwa sababu itakuwa sina maana ya kwenda tena kutafuta vitu vingine nini na nini ndo nipate live coverage, lakini nitakuwa nafuata na KBC.
Na raha sana juu utakuwa tunaifuatilia live hapo.
Tu switch kwa channel ya KBC. Hapo ndo kila kitu kiko.
KBC Assistant Brand Manager Alex Karega expressed confidence that the corporation will treat its audience to a lively show in the comfort of their homes.
World Cup is here with us. It's just a week to go. I just want to promise Kenyans nothing but the best. I'm supporting all the African teams because we are African. So we are wishing our African teams that are representing us all the very best. And we see how far they'll go.
Afrika ni kwa side ya Senegal. Naona kidogo hata kama Simba itafika quarter finals.
Afrika sioni watatoboa pale.
Afrika itatoboa Ghana.
The caravan will be traversing Kilifi County as they continue to entice their viewers and listeners that World Cup iko KBC.
Amazing dancing from my colleague right there. Alex, you should be specific which African country. There are 5. I'd really love to know which African country you'll be supporting and get to know which one you think will go the farthest this time in the 2022 Qatar FIFA World Cup. Now let's move on, still in matters World Cup. With 10 days to go to the FIFA World Cup in Qatar, today in our player profile segment we focus on Van Dijk. Van Dijk is a Dutch professional football player who plays as a centre back for Premier League club Liverpool and the Netherlands national team. He is considered one of the best defenders in the world and is also known for his strength, leadership and aerial ability. And I definitely won't leave you without letting it be known that Arsenal, the Premier League leaders, were knocked out of the Carabao Cup as Brighton gained a shock-away 3-1 victory at Emirates Stadiums. Other EPL teams were knocked out, but I'm so happy Arsenal was knocked out, giving us a headache in the EPL. So that's all we had for you right here at the KBC Sports Desk. I'll see you tomorrow with more sports news and definitely intriguing facts about the 2022 FIFA World Cup. So do have yourself a peaceful night. My name is Karen Kibet. My colleague Cynthia Nyamai is on the other side of the studio waiting for you.
So much, Karen. We just have 10 more days to go and Karen will be keeping us updated, and of course we will have all the live action for you. Muhammad Hamid from Mombasa says, thank you for bringing back Young and Industrious. Well, from me and the rest of the team, we would like to wish you a very good night. Thank you.
Jumapili hii kwenye runinga ya KBC, ungana naye